Hey everybody, Sean Mackey here. I'm an award-winning internet marketer, and today I am here to talk to you guys about Twitter. I want to talk to you a bit about how to market on Twitter, how to grow your business on Twitter, how to connect with people, how to posture and position your offers so you can use Twitter more effectively in your marketing. Now, when most people jump on Twitter, how do you think they market, right? They use social networks like a used car salesman. A lot of people, right? They push out information on Twitter. They, drop a line of text and they drop a link to a video or an article or something they're selling, and they just leave it out there. And I think you're leaving so much food on the table when you do that. There's so much more of an opportunity to create relationships and build trust and build awareness with people if you use it a little differently. So that's something I want to cover today. Now, our goal our goal on Twitter is really to find the pearl, right? Find those highly targeted people that are eventually looking to buy what it is you're selling, and just be cool with them, right? Just provide valuable information and be cool. Now, imagine what would happen if you walked up to somebody on the street that you found attractive and you proposed to them. It's probably not going to turn out too well for you, right? And it's the age-old case of you haven't given them a reason to know you, like you, or trust you. Okay? So let's talk about how you should act on Twitter, what you should be doing on Twitter. Well, it should really be a series of listening and responding, right? You want to put something out, or you want to listen to somebody, and then you want to respond to what it is that they're talking about. And I think a good analogy is, if you think about a party, right? You can't just walk up to somebody in the middle of a conversation at a party and start talking to them. Well, on Twitter, you can. You can jump right into a conversation midstream, and it's not going to look weird. It's not going to sound weird. So let's talk a bit about how to find folks on Twitter, and then we can talk about some different ways of interacting with them. Okay, now Twitter lists are a great way to uncover highly targeted groups of leads in a specific industry, in a specific niche. And you can use these to really drill down and find people to start conversations with. So there's a couple steps involved in this, so let me step you through how I do it and show you some of the finer points. And let's say for this example, we're interested in getting leads for the keyword phrase social media marketing, right? Now again, you can use this for any keyword, but we're going to use that for this example. So here I am on my Twitter page, and you're going to see we'll go right up to the search bar at the top of Twitter there and just type in social media marketing, and we're going to hit send and do a query. And then on the page that comes back, it's going to list, all people that are related to that specific keyword we searched for. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm looking for a seed account. In other words, I'm looking for somebody that I can use to help me find a whole bunch of lists, right? So I'm just going to scroll through the result page, and in this case, I'm going to choose this one, Katie Land. She's going to be our guinea pig here in this. I don't know Katie, so Katie, if you're on this or you're watching this, I apologize, but I hope you like some little bit of free exposure here. So we're going to go ahead and click on Katie's name, and what that's going to do is it's going to bring up her profile. Now, the first thing I want to look at is I want to see if this is going to be a good seed for me. So I'm looking at it. I see she's a CEO. She's an owner of a consulting place. She does her own consulting firm. She's a blogger. She speaks. She's into family, right? So she's got a good demeanor. She tweets a lot. She's got a lot of followers. She has a good, she's following a lot of people. So she's pretty good in terms of industry specific to what I'm looking for. And that's important because she's going to be on a lot of lists, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on her name, and then it's going to bring up a page that looks like this. And then on the left-hand side, you're going to click lists, okay? And then there's just one more step. You're going to click on the page that comes up, member of. Okay, so we've done a search, we've drilled down, we've found a seed account, we've gone through and we've drilled into the lists that they're a member of. Okay, and what that brought back just from Katie, just what I found from her lists was, here's 108 people that were speakers at an event. There's 96 VIP social media people. I mean, those are probably, that's probably a pretty curated list. Underneath that, there's 5,000 female bloggers, another group, social media, with almost 5,000 members in it. And all of these lists are gold, right? This is so key to understand. It's so powerful because these lists have been vetted by all the users on Twitter, And Twitter, the Twitter users have said, okay, these people relate to these specific categories. So very, very powerful. And then what you do is, and we'll talk about this, what you do is you start conversations with these folks. Now, the next thing I want to share with you is how to use Twitter search a little more effectively and some things that you can do. And I think one important differentiation is understanding, where your customers are in the buying cycle, right? And understanding that as opposed to on Google, on Twitter, people are not so much actively buying, they're doing more browsing, right? So let's look at a couple examples. On Google, people may be typing things like bartending jobs, Lower East Side, or Brooklyn weight loss program, or buy Honda Civic, right? They're often very actively engaged in closing or getting that information. Well, on Twitter, again, they're usually talking, they're expressing, they're sharing more. So, instead of typing bartending job Lower East Side, they may type I need a job, or I'm so overweight, right? Or I need a new whip yesterday, right? And that's I think knowing how your customer talks, right? So instead of typing buy Honda Civic into Google, they're typing I need a new whip yesterday into Twitter. But they're still mentally going towards the same goal, right? They're just earlier on in the process. But if you can identify that, you can start talking to them in a, with a voice that's going to resonate with them. So the differentiation that's important to note is that on Google, people are searching for services that match their needs, and you try and show up first in the search results for those terms. But on Twitter, you search for phrases that match the state that you want your browser, your prospect, to be in. I think that's a very, very important differentiation, And so let's look at how to search on Google. But one thing I just want to note real quick, a little technical thing. If you put quotes around what you're searching for, you're going to find exactly what that phrase is in Twitter. So as opposed to if you typed in blue car, for example, it may swap those words around. But if you put quotes around it, it's going to find exactly that phrase, blue car. Okay, so it's called an exact match. So let's look at an example. In this case, I used exact match search to do a search for the phrase I need an apartment. Okay. And so you'll see right down here, there's one, 1 hour ago, 3 hours ago, a couple people posted, this first one, right? My mom comes cleaning at the worst times. I need an apartment. I need some cool down time. Maybe not, the most serious apartment seeker, right? But if you scroll down to this third one, if I go to, whatever, I need an apartment with roommates. I need to figure that out. So that may be somebody that's looking to move somewhere and may need an apartment. So if you're a realtor, this may be a good person to start a conversation with, start a dialogue with, right? Not, hey, let me sell you an apartment. Let me talk to you about some of, maybe find out something that this woman likes, find out some, drill down, find out some of her likes and interests, and then start a quick conversation with her about it, right? Not pushy, not salesy, not marketing talk, friendly talk, right? So very, very powerful. And again, I have an arrow here also pointing to this little settings bar on the right-hand side. You'll see you can click that and it'll help you do advanced search. So you can target this search, for example, by geographic location. So I could target people in New York that need an apartment or people in LA that need an apartment, right? Very, very powerful. So again, it's about jumping in, finding targeted people, and then joining a conversation with them, right? Get involved. Talk about, the fun stuff. Talk about the weather. When your Twitter feed starts to look a lot more like this, starts to look a lot more like at replies and just conversations in general, rather than pushing stuff out, I think you'll notice a big difference in your bottom line, right? I mean, just look at this first one, someone I'm reaching out to, we're talking about, she followed me, and then I went and looked at something she'd posted, and I said, okay, I really like what you're doing. Down at the bottom was a discussion I was having with somebody. We were talking about the changes that were made on Facebook, the marketing changes that just happened in December. And we went back and forth. We didn't agree on this, specific points of it, but we were able to have an open dialogue, and I was able to get to know some more about what this guy thinks. And I think that's really, really powerful stuff. Okay. So let's look at a couple examples. Here is here's New York One. This is a news company in New York that's talking about that hurricane that we just had, Hurricane Hercules. And they write, city bundles up for frigid temperatures and aftermath of snowstorm, and then a Bitly link, which is fine. I mean, it's push content, right? It's fine. And for their audience, which is pretty diverse, it may be okay. But let me show you what WWE did too. This was okay. The storm's coming out of town. The storm's leaving. So this is what WWE did. They said, "Good to see Winter Storm Hercules finally blowing offshore," and they used hashtag for Hercules so they could get some, get some viral exposure rather through that hashtag, which was trending at the time. But they used one of their brand assets. They used their character Hercules, right? And they took this picture of him and superimposed it over the map and moved it offshore. Like, that's funny, and this works on Twitter. This is the kind of stuff, like, this is absolutely a perfect example of a brand speaking to their audience on Twitter in a way that's going to be native and make sense to them, right? Does that make sense? Now, a lot of you guys probably seen Isaiah Mustafa in the Old Spice commercials, and this was, when I saw this come out, I thought this was hilarious, right? What they did was they took a brand, in my opinion, that I think had become relevant. Like, I hadn't thought about Old Spice in a long time. And they made this play that if you could, your man may not look like Isaiah Mustafa, but if you wear this, you can at least smell like him. And isn't that awesome, right? And he's got, these ridiculous, he's riding on a horse and he's got diamonds and, the concert tickets to the show you want. Like, I thought it was really smart. And then they did something that I thought was even smarter. They did a follow-up campaign on Twitter and on YouTube where they locked him in a room and they had him do videos, like little short 30-second videos they put on YouTube based on what people requested it to do. So here I have, some information about it. Old Spice had a crew of social media experts sitting in a room analyzing everything in real time. They identified people like Alyssa Milano, and so so they got some celebrities, they got some regular folks, and they had these people ask what they wanted them to do. And then they had a creative team on the spot writing these scripts and shooting video responses and throwing them up practically in real time. And they did this for a few days, right? So here's one of them. It's like, Old Spice guy has that ring you want. I mean, I don't know if this was a proposal that somebody wanted to do, but it didn't take them a whole lot of time to do it. And I think the potential payoff was really, really big. I mean, here's George Stephanopoulos, and this is, again, politics aside, great way, great use by him of Twitter. Hey, Old Spice man, political question. President's lost some female support. How does, WH get women voters back? I think that's it's really funny. He's using Twitter in kind of a funny, whimsical way. But this campaign resulted in them going from on Twitter having a few thousand followers to getting 40,000 followers in just a few days. They got over 8 million views on YouTube as a result of this video, and they got a lot of buzz about it, right? And so you would think they killed it, right? I mean, that sounds like a really solid, executed campaign, right? I don't think so. One of the things that, when I found this out afterwards, I was like, you guys really missed an opportunity there, was they built up this huge fan base and then they didn't interact with them, right? So after that campaign was over, there was no @messages on Twitter. That account wasn't utilizing those relationships that they'd created with those people. So that's something that I think you need to, it's critical to keep in mind, is be cool, right? Be cool, be social, be friendly. Always look to extend the conversation on Twitter, keep that conversation going, and keeping your prospect moving along in that process until ultimately when they realize, hey, I need that apartment, or hey, I need that social media guy, or hey, I need this, whatever product or service it is that you're selling, you'll pop into their brain because you've been cool with them the whole time. So again, my name's Sean Mackey. That's just some of my thoughts on Twitter. I hope you found this information useful. If you have, please leave me a comment, share it, tweet it. Just spread the love, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have an awesome day.